Welcome to The Thought Card, a podcast about travel and money, where planning, saving, and creativity leads to affording travel, building wealth, and paying off debt. We are the Financially Savvy Travelers. Hey, Financially Savvy Travelers. Welcome to another episode of The Thought Card podcast. I am super excited to be with you guys here today because I am announcing the release of my new book called Affording Travel. In this episode, I'm going to share with you behind the scenes of why I wrote this book, what you can find inside, and I'm actually going to be sharing with you a snippet of the introduction. So I'll be reading to you guys the introduction of the book. So if you haven't already gotten your copy, make sure you head over to Amazon and grab a copy of my new book, Affording Travel. It shares literally everything I know about saving money for travel and making travel a financial priority. If you would have told me 5 years ago that I'd be the author of 2 books, I would have asked you if you were joking, all right? 5 years ago, I started this blog with so many limiting beliefs. Truth is, I never saw myself as a writer or an author or a creative person. But I started the Thought Card blog because I had a lot to say and I wanted to share things with the world. As a Virgo, I am analytical, I'm logical, I'm numbers driven, and I always saw myself not as a creative or imaginative. And just the other day, I took a brain dominance test with my mom, and of course, it came out left brain, which means that I'm realistic, linear, accurate, and mathematic. But instead of giving up on the idea of writing a blog, I leaned in all the way in. So in my journey, again, I had so many limiting beliefs about writing a book and being a writer, but I pushed them aside because I have been practicing for so many years. What I really needed was to flex my creative muscle. I needed to push and live outside of my comfort zone and build the confidence to articulate my ideas. So 5 years later, here I am, the author of 2 books, which is still mind-boggling, all right? So with that being said, it brings me so much joy to share with you that I am the author of the new book titled Affording Travel, and it really shares the saving strategies for financially savvy travelers, and it's been on my heart for a really, really long time. If you know that after writing my first book, Ison, Nature, Nurture, and Adventure, which you can also find on Amazon, I really wanted my next book to speak specifically to my tribe. I wanted to speak specifically to you all, my financially savvy travelers. Financially savvy travelers really want to travel the world while being fiscally responsible. They want to go on vacation often without sacrificing the progress on their other goals, and I get it. And I really wanted my next book to cater to you all. So I wrote this book because I really wanted to offer my readers practical advice for making travel a financial priority in their life. And I wanted to share what has worked for me, how I've made all of my dreams come true. I've been so gracious enough to travel to 27 countries and 4 continents using the techniques I detail in this book. And this is the very beginning of my Financially Savvy Travelers series. So there will be more books to come, but I really did not want to skip steps. I really wanted to start at the very beginning. How do you save for travel? And funny enough, even though I talk about travel and money extensively on my blog and on this podcast, I've written hundreds of articles on my website, and I've been a contributor on different publications online. I've never before detailed the step-by-step complete process. And I think that's because it's a very detailed process. There's a lot that goes on in how I'm able to afford to travel, how I was able to travel while paying off student loan debt, while as a homeowner and still crushing my financial goals. There's a lot, and I just couldn't cram it into one podcast episode, and I couldn't cram it into one blog post or even a series of blog posts. But what I did do is I created this book. And guess what? It's less than 10,000 words, which was intentional. I really wanted this book to be not bite-sized, but I really wanted it to be easy to digest. I did not want to overwhelm my readers with so much content. I really wanted to just give you the information so that you could get started and that you can learn how to live abundantly. Because that's really what affording travel for me has been all about. A lot of people, they're waiting to travel. They're waiting to pay off their debt to travel. I did it while I was paying off my debt. They're waiting to retire to travel. I'm, traveling while working full time. So at the end of the day, I really wanted to help change perspectives, and I really wanted to help people who need help aligning their actions with their vision. If you want to travel the world, it's not enough to say, I want to travel the world and leave it at that. You need to have systems in place, because the truth of the matter is that you need money to travel, and if you're not prioritizing it in your budget and in your finances, it's going to be really, really hard to make it happen. Now, I know that there are tons of budget travel books out there that will teach you how to travel the world for less, but Affording Travel does not do that, okay? It's not a book that's going to share with you tips and tricks and hacks to travel the world on a budget. That's not what the aim of the book is. Affording Travel shares with you how to save for travel, not how to save money while traveling. This is about the pre-planning process. This is about having money in your bank account so you can make the decision that, yes, you can afford to travel. Again, this book is packed with practical money tips and strategies. And don't worry, I'm not going to tell you to stop drinking coffee because I like my lattes. And I'm not going to encourage you to sell your things because although these strategies definitely work, I'm gonna share with you other strategies, other practical things. And, a special shout out and thank you to the contributors. I had a lot of people come and give me quotes in the book and help co-sign my ideas. And this is actually one of the critiques that came in from my first book. So the story goes is that I had sent out my Iceland travel guidebook to a lot of different people. And one of the people, I was so nervous and scared to send her a copy of my book. And she got back to me in a couple of days and she was like, it's okay. It's all right. You did not talk to enough Black women to share the diverse Black perspectives on visiting Iceland. And although it crushed me to hear this critique, it really has helped me to be a better author. And I took that to heart. And that's why I not only share the strategies that have worked for me, but I also enlist other people, other financially savvy travelers who have found creative ways to travel the world. And they share with us in the book their tips and their strategies, or what has worked for them, or what I say has worked for me. And they also co-sign it. So having other people come to the table and to talk about travel money and how they afford travel has been really great. In terms of the nitty gritty content of the book, I just wanted to bring to your attention a couple of things that I talk about. One of the first things I talk about is my come to Jesus moment, which sparked me to become the financially savvy traveler I am. This is the catalyst of why I started to take travel seriously as an adult, and I really talk about that in depth. I also talk about how to adjust your priorities and include travel in your monthly budget. Yes, we do cover budgeting in the book because it's something that we cannot avoid. You cannot avoid budgeting. You cannot avoid having a spending plan. But I do offer some quick tips and I call it, dirty budgeting, quick and dirty budgeting, because I don't want it to be overwhelming for you. I also talk about how best to set the right amount to save for travel for you. I offer some suggestions on how often you should put money aside for your vacations, the best apps to help you save, the best micro saving and micro investing apps to save, and lastly, where to stash your travel fund, and so much more. I mean, I really went in on this book because I really wanted to give you, again, my financially savvy traveler tribe, everything that you need to know to really feel confident in your ability to put money away to travel the world, all right? And if you're wondering if I have another book in store, yes, I do. I am super ecstatic. I'm going to be writing my next book, again, for financially savvy travelers, all about how to find cheap flights later this year. So stay tuned for all of the new developments that's going to come out. Definitely book writing has been one of my favorite things to do. Before I hop into the excerpt of the book, of me reading the book to you, the introduction of the book, I also wanted to share with you guys that next episode, I'm going to be talking all about what I've learned writing 2 books, what I've learned as a self-published author. I'll share with you behind the scenes and some tips and advice for you to get started. I think it's really important to not only when I'm sharing that I'm creating content, but also to share with you some of my struggles, what I've learned, some of the surprising things that I've found about the process. So stay tuned for the next episode. We're going to be talking all about being an author and being a self-published author. All right. So here is the introduction to my new book titled Affording Travel. After 5 years of writing about travel and money on my affordable travel finance blog, The Thought Card, I wrote this book to encourage more people to explore the world by saving for it regularly. While I enjoy sharing creative ways to travel hack and find cheap flights on my platform, these optimization strategies work best if you already have money in the bank. But how do you save said money? I'm happy you asked. While you can find hundreds of articles catering to financially savvy travelers on my website, and can listen to inspiring stories of people finding creative ways to earn and build wealth on my podcast, I have never before detailed step by step how I save for travel. Previously, when I have written about affording travel, I only mentioned 1 or 2 steps for the sake of time. But here, I detail the strategies I use from start to finish. This is the book I wish I had years ago when I felt like travel was financially out of reach for me, especially during college and graduate school. And these are the exact strategies that I hope to teach my kids one day. Recently, I was at a conference and a listener of my show came up to me sharing that one of my podcast episodes encouraged her to start saving for travel. After setting the intention and starting small, she told me that she is going on a week-long vacation to Hawaii this fall. She now plans to travel at least once a year. It is attainable for her. I want the same for you. Another friend of mine took my advice and started a travel fund. She is now finding more of a balance between running her side hustle and regularly taking time off to fill her cup. These are just 2 examples of people who have shared with me how my saving strategies have helped them rethink affording travel. This book is about taking control of your finances and using them to follow your passion. It is my hope that after reading, you'll feel inspired and empowered to take action and get new ideas on how you can make travel a financial priority in your life. In this book, I do not share how to save for a specific trip, but instead how to save for many trips, thus fueling a travel-abundant lifestyle. While everyone's financial situation is different, give this framework a try and take it one step further by making it your own. I'm here to support, guide, and coach you through the process. A special thank you to my mom who laid the foundation for me to be the financially savvy traveler I am today. Your knack for financial planning and creativity inspires everything I do. Kyle, my love, your unwavering support of all my ideas, including writing this book, means so much to me. I love you endlessly. Lastly, thank you to Stephanie Perry, Phoenicia Alexander, Melody Johnson, Tiffany Grant, and Aquania Escarnay for sharing how they afford to travel. All right, that is the preface of the book. I hope you found it captivating, interesting. Let me know your thoughts. Feel free to hit me up at The Thought Card on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Let me know what your thoughts are of the first little snippet of this book. And what are you looking forward to when it comes to reading this book? What do you want to know after affording travel? What would you like to know? Definitely going to be talking about cheap flights next in the next book, but we'd love to hear your thoughts and get you involved in the creation process. Again, a really big thank you to everyone who supports me, who shares my content, who DMs me, who just connects with me and reaches out to me. Your words are so encouraging and it really pushes me. And for listening to the show, like the downloads really matter and it just makes me feel so just filled with joy that people are listening and resonating with the content that I share. I know that a lot of times money talking about money isn't the most sexiest thing around, but it's important. And I just am so appreciative of the tribe that I'm building, and that I'm so excited to just really be creating more content specifically for financially savvy travelers. So again, if you have not gotten yourself a copy of my book, please go out and head over to Amazon and type in Affording Travel in the search box and grab a copy. There will also be all the links to purchase the book in the show notes of this episode. And I look forward to connecting with you guys next episode, where we're going to be talking all about what I've learned on this process of writing 2 books. All right, guys, that is it for this episode. I will talk to you next time. Bye.